Michael Krajicek, welcome to the Tiny Bench.
This is the coolest thing. It's got energy.
It does. It brings it.
It's got energy to it.
Yeah, so you're, 15, 16 guests in now. It's
Yeah.
definitely getting its own aura. Like it's traveled how many miles from
It took me by
Colorado?
surprise when I sat down.
It catches everybody.
Yeah.
Well, we are here, as you can see behind us, the running event, Austin, Texas. I'm stoked to talk to Michael. He's been a good friend of mine, somebody I look up to in this industry, and we're just going to dive right into the questions as we do, because we keep these things pretty short. So, you are an entrepreneur. You started Atreyu Run Company. You have run a lot. You've done a lot of Ironman racing. What has running and your career as a runner, whatever that may be, what has that taught you and helped you with as you now become more of an entrepreneur and build this business?
That's a great question. I had a lot of perspective in the past maybe 3 months to think about it. I did a good podcast with my buddy Steve, and been trying to drill into what it actually means for a long time. And what I've come up with is running is my simulation of a perfect world.
I love it.
And what I mean by that is the world is not always easy. It's not always hard. It's not always beautiful. It's not always, it's got so many different shapes and forms. And by simulation, every single day as a practice, running as a practice, if you put your practice bigger than the goal itself, if it becomes that practice and it kind of is the foundation for everything, then every day I get to start my day kind of working on that practice, so to speak. And it's really taken me a long time to drill into that because I got sidetracked with goals and different things along the way. And it finally, like, I've been searching for that for a long time. But the goal is nested within the practice. And if you see it as a simulation of a perfect world, you can learn how to work. You can learn how to go through the other side of the door. You can learn what pain is. You can learn what, meeting a goal is.
Yeah. So the running event, for everybody that doesn't know, it's a running specialty retailer show. So every shoe manufacturer that you know of is here. So we're gonna talk shoes a little bit. You took a background in music and hot dog carting, and turned it into a growing running shoe company. How do those dots connect?
It's an interesting one. I started running. I think the healthiest I've ever been in running was when I first got sober. I started running every day, and the practice was sound, man. It was like, let's just go out, run 8 miles, take our shirt off, soak in the sun. And there was just something special that transacted. Every day I did that. I fell in love with it, became obsessed with it. So that's how it kind of affected me to be compelled to go down this road. And the further I went down the road, I realized that there was always another door to go open, and it led me into footwear design, sourcing, like all the things that are involved into it. And it became an obsession. And my practice got a little stronger and started doing races and started learning about it and getting involved in the community. And that to me has just been, it was life-changing. So I took the experience from the restaurant or the hot dog business and from, playing music. And I really see myself as a folk singer running a shoe company who loves to run. I'm not the best CEO in the world or anything like that. Like, I don't even claim to be. But I like the idea of it being, the novelty guy.
Yep. Can we get a little American Trilogy?
Oh man, look at that right there, playing. The Elvis American Trilogy is the song you throw on before you run the Grand Canyon with this guy right here.
It's still on one of my running playlists.
Glory, hallelujah.
Yes. Yeah, we were a little delirious in the middle of the night coming out of the canyon, and somehow it came back on. And man, that's a good memory that I'll always have.
So good.
So the other big question that I love to ask everybody is bucket lists.
Yeah.
And so I want to ask you 2 separate bucket lists, and they might end up being interwoven, but athletically, what do you want to accomplish? And then entrepreneurial, what do you want to accomplish? Like what's sitting right there at the top?
Sure. Athletically, I would like to, I was afraid that I'd lose the joy that I found in running in the beginning.
Sure.
You know, that kind of, just that beautiful on-ramp into everything. And over time, it's been compromised in various forms. That being said, my goal athletically, I read a book by Amby Burfoot. It was called Running Forever, and it changed my whole perspective, which was like, no, the goal is to keep going. So my goal athletically is to maintain the joy of the practice
Sure.
as long as possible, because I don't know what I'd do without it. Sprinkled in there, little things like I'd like to run around Mount Fuji for the, the Mount Fuji 100, stuff like that.
UTMF?
I think it might not be a UT.
Oh, okay. So there is an ultra trail doing Mount Fuji, or there
There
was.
is, but I think it's the Mount Fuji 100 now.
Okay.
I think. Anyway, I just got back from Japan.
Well, that makes it more appealing now. That it's
Yeah. Well, I don't know anything about that realm, but I was like, that sounds pretty cool. I do a lot of triathlon, and I'd like to get to the World Championship in Ironman in Kona. I went in the St. George year, but I'd like to go do triathlon in Hawaii.
Sure.
Those are my bucket list goals.
Okay. And then business.
Okay. From business, when you mix business and pleasure like I did, it gets really crazy. And I mentioned I'm a little bit like a folk singer trying to run a company.
Yep.
I'd like to see, John Mayer once said, among many different artists and genres that I listen to, he once said that, like, I'll paraphrase it, but the intent wasn't to get famous. The intent was to play a song for as many people as possible.
Yep.
I'm trying to figure out with work how to articulate the message that the aperture of running is much wider, and I'd like to play that part in it by talking about the practice, by talking about the simplicity of shoes, by talking about, so the goal is to play that song for as many people as possible, so to speak. I'd love to see it grow, I'd love to see it spread, and I'd love to see that message spread. That's basically what I'd like to see. I'd like to grow my team, I'd like to grow the footprint, I'd like to be able to go travel places and run with people for work.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have maybe upped the bar on the depth of answers on the old tiny bench. This is when I packed this bench and I said, I need to bring this tiny bench to Austin. You're the only person that I said, I'm not leaving Austin without Michael. So,
it's a pleasure.
Brother, I love you, man. Thank you for
John.
taking the time and chatting with me on the tiny bench. And dude, on to the next adventure.
Thank you so much. Let's go have fun at the trade show, man.
Let's go.